accepted, challenge accepted. The attitude is always challenge accepted. Challenge accepted, challenge accepted. The attitude is always challenge accepted.
Believe it or not, for 10 editions of QA Challenge Accepted, this is his 6th time speaking on our stage.
Easier to say, he didn't speak at edition 1, 2, 5 and 9. Additionally, you'll see Niki during the panelist session later today. But let me tell you several things about his talk. He's here to talk about something that can either save your tests
or completely kill him. Niki has been working with self-healing automation for 18 months, and let's just say it's not always the magical solution we dream of. So get ready to find out if self-healing is your next best friend
or your worst nightmare. I want to hear your clapping hands for the e-commerce guru, the biggest CSK fan, the holder of the last year QA of the Year award, the automation master and disaster,
Nikolay Stanoev!
Challenge accepted, challenge accepted. The attitude is always challenge accepted.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you being here at QA Challenge Accepted 10. My talk is called, you don't see it, you'll see it in a minute, self-healing, or, I was muted, okay, or self-killing. So, before starting with that, I have a question. How many of you have heard about self-healing? Can you raise hands? Please raise hands. Okay, just a few. Then how many of you use self-healing capabilities in your automation nowadays? None of you. Congratulations. Can you hear me? Okay, congratulations. Our topic is ready. You can leave the room. Now, let's move further. During the session, I'm going to go through the history of self-healing, how we met with it, why we decided to invest time in self-healing, what is the context from what we do as a work, the tools that we decided to go through, that we faced, and lessons learned. What is self-healing? For everyone who hasn't heard that word, it's basically self-healing in test automation. It's an advanced approach to make your automated tests more robust and adaptable. What does this mean? I hope you can find it in the following slides. Now, a little bit about the history. It was early 2016 when some of my colleagues from India came to me and started screaming, self-healing, 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 self-healing. And I said, what the fuck is that? We don't know, but you need to play with it. I said, forget about it. I don't believe about that. I don't have any information. We will not spend time for self-healing. In 2020, it became a trendy. Every new tool put on the market had self-healing capability inside of it. When you see that, you find that something is built around that. And at that point of time, self-healing was machine learning solution, which is going to make your test passing. Come on, I can make my test passing even if I said assert true, true. That's it. That's not the idea. In 2020, some of our clients start asking, do we use self-healing in our automation framework? And I said, no. They said, why? I'll tell you later. In 2022, late December, we decided to experience a little bit with self-healing and see now it's kind of mature topic. It's not something fresh. Everything which was live before that, it was trendy, it's kind of dead, but there are a couple of tools which are already there with like 5-6 years of experience, and we have a good feedback about them. In late 2022, we decided to give it a go. Nowadays, if you watch properly the Victor's presentation, you'll see that self-healing was mentioned there, but it's not machine learning. Now it's a combination of machine learning and AI, because AI is trendy. Whether it's going to give you benefit in future, we'll see, probably in 2030, but nowadays I'm kind of skeptical. So moving further, why we decided to go with self-healing? Short answer, our clients pushed us. In addition to that, we also wanted to validate all the myths about self-healing, whether it's going to bring, whether it's going to bring better efficiency in our daily work, so we can be more efficient. Is it going to reduce the time spent for analysis, which we do every day? And finally, it is going to help anyway in our flex. Is it possible to be reduced? But now let's a bit more context. Guys, that microphone is not working. I hear myself speaking and then no one hears me. Please fix it. So now about the context. We do e-commerce, and this is online websites where you can purchase goods without going to the real shop, and then after that, when you complete your purchases, they go to your home or different others. Our tests are detached from the development implementation, and we run them once per night. On the next day, we have some failures, and we spend time to analyze those tests, why they have failed. In addition to that, for some of our complex clients, we have tons of configurations which are making our life worse, and the total number of tests is more than 1,000. And you heard it already in Maro's presentation, we have failed tests, absolutely normal. In our company, we have 4 different categories. The first one is obvious. The test is failing because of product bug. Why? Because some of our dev colleagues broke the application and it does not behave like we expect. Second thing is product change. Product change is someone did a change in the application framework. Our test is not updated to that change and it's failing. Absolutely normal. This is what is expected. Now we need to spend time to update the automated tests. Next one is environment issues. This is when you have some implementation. You're calling different APIs or different third-party services. One of them is kind of slow or broken, and then you have timeouts. You cannot do anything based in that case except fixing your environment. And the last thing is we make troubles because when we merge pull requests, might break some tests. But now we have expectations because we have self-healing in our automation, and now what should change? If we are in state with product bug, we expect self-healing to execute, to find nothing, and the test to fail on the same place like we didn't have self-healing enabled. If we have a product change, we expect the self-healing to execute, to find the correct web element, and then the test to proceed. If we have environment issue, self-healing cannot help you at all because it's a timeout problem, totally different context. If we have a scripting issue, at that time, we didn't really sure, is it going to help at all or not? So we were clever, and when we do proof of concept, we prepare with some use cases. In our state, we had 2 types of cases. First 2 are showing product bug case, and the other 2 are showing product change. Based on those tests, we would evaluate different tools and to see which one is the best, and then start playing with it. Did you hear me? Okay. When we find different tools, we are going to play with those test use cases. If all of them matches, then we're going to play more deeply with that tool. And the tools are, surprise, Applitools, Lambda Test, and Selenium. There are even more companies which are building tools with self-healing, but we really didn't have time to check everyone in the market. Probably most of you know Applitools. They are famous with their visual test automation. We use them since 2016, quite happy with their products. And they recently released their execution cloud, which had self-healing capability built inside of it. So we said, okay, let's play with it. It requires a tunnel. Then we set it up in our environment, and our security colleagues came to us and started walking our computers. It's a malware software. Please delete it immediately, or we need to wipe your desktop station, and you need to start from scratch. So we had an option, really to evaluate the tool, or fill tons of documents in order that tool to be allowed in the company to be used. Our problem. After additional research and checking with Applitools, it appeared that the cost for that execution cloud was quite high, so we decided to not give it a go. Next one was Lambda Test. few weeks or months later, we are also doing a proof of concept of Lambda test, whether we can replace it with our existing Selenium grid provider. And they had, surprise, self-healing capability enabled in their platform. You can enable it quite easy with capability, just say auto-heal true or false. Perfect. Then we executed our use cases, and not all of them completed into the state that we expected. So we had expectation how to complete. Our test use cases did not complete it in that state. That's why we said it's failing. Okay, let's move further. But while we were doing some kind of checks with Lambda test, we also observed that it's not easy to find which test had self-healing enabled inside of it. So their reporting was kind of a problem because you had to go to every test case session and scroll somewhere and look for some button which is going to say, yes, self-healing was enabled here, it was executed, and that was the new locator returned. Painful. Awesome. It's real trouble to us, so let's not use it. The next one is Selenium. The good thing is open source solution. We also have experience with EPAM tools like Report Portal, and we said those guys really know what to do. Let's try with Selenium. Also, Anton Angelov in few conferences before QA Challenge accepted and also mentioned that tool, so we had kind of good confidence about it. We tried to set it up. It was pretty easy. With a few Docker and stuff on Linux machine, fluent, perfect. Documentation was really good. Then we also integrated it with our automation framework for less than an hour, which was also impressive, and we executed our test. All of them completed into the state that we expected. Yes, it's working. We found the tool. Now let's get more experience with it and see how to sell it to our colleagues to start using it on a daily basis. So while that was work in progress, we went deeper with Selenium to see how it really works. Basically, it is overriding find element and find elements methods in Selenium. And there is also a threshold value between 0 and 1, which you need to say what is your number. If you have a scoring of web element below that threshold, it won't be returned to your automation framework. If the scoring is above the threshold, it is going to return your most suitable candidate, and your test is going to proceed with it. Nice. But then we found that this is the scoring implementation of the machine learning algorithm in Selenium, and based on those rules and the points that it matches for different web elements on the page, it returns score for every web element. And as you can see, 100 points for tag. Come on. Does any one of you is using tags in your selectors? Most probably no. But if you make a change, most common changes is like, for example, changing button to div element to select, or select to something else, which means automatically you're going to have a penalty of 33% because the total is like 350. So maybe we might have problems with that implementation based on what kind of product changes we do in our applications. This is how the reporting looks like. You can see we have a failed locator, we have a scoring information, and also a healed locator of the element. We have some images, and then on the next page, it's selectors tab, where you can see which selector on which URL exists. And from here, you can just enable or disable its self-healing in future based on your needs. Then after a couple of weeks, we integrated this in our smallest project. And we said we are going to do analysis of all failures until we see the benefit of Selenium. And we are convinced that we can share it with our colleagues and they start using it on a daily basis. And our first challenge was Selenium self-heals a product bugs. What was our use case? We were on the payment page. We were filling our credit card details, clicking on the Pay Now button, and then we expect to go to the thank you page. We have a bug, and the user is staying on a payment page with huge error on the screen. Payment is not working. Please try again. But at that time, our test was successfully marked as a passed. What happened is Selenium found another element which has a score on the payment page with that error message, higher than our threshold and said it, this is your element, which at that time was, hello, this is payment page. It's H1 attribute. It took it, returned it to our framework, and the test after that did some other checks, which are basically not good enough, let's say, and the test passed. So the first thing that we learned is, come on, we need also to analyze all successfully executed tests which were healed, because we need to ensure that the final result is the one that we need. Solution was quite simple at that point of time. We decided to extend Selenium to consider the URL in the healing process. So if whenever the test is executed successfully, it is going to map in the database of Selenium the URL from where the selector is invoked. And now during the test, if somehow it fails, first we are going to check if the URL matches. If it matches, okay, proceed to self-healing. But if the URL doesn't match, do not execute self-healing and the test is going to fail, like self-healing was not enabled, which was one of our requirements when we had self-healing enabled in our expectation earlier. Next challenge. After a few weeks' time, we found another problem. It's with PayPal. How many of you knows what is PayPal? Can you raise hands? Nice, almost everyone, good. So with PayPal, we have a problem because we have integrations, let's say, from US, from Spain, from Japan, and from UK. And all those test cases on different domains, they go into the same sandbox of PayPal to do our testing. And we had a bug that in the US integration, PayPal was not loading because of problem in our code. So what did in Selenium? It executed the stuff, it didn't find anything like the selectors which were expected, and it wiped all the results for the PayPal page, for those selectors. Even though the US, Japan, Spain, and other, UK, Japan, Spain, and other markets were working properly. So we said that's not good, because if we have integration and it fails somewhere, it is going to wipe all our data for the rest of the markets. So solution was, again, simple after a few days of thinking, that let's add more context about testing Selenium and add information from which market the test is executed. So instead of having a single PayPal URL with some selectors, we're going to have multiple PayPals with single selectors, but everyone will be from which market the test is executed. So we have a problem for US, only the data for US will be wiped. Next one. After a couple of months, we found another problem. Self-healing is executed during invisibility of expected conditions. It's a nightmare. You expect something to not appear, and self-healing is like, no, I'll find it for you. I'll find it. This is the element that you need to work. So it was like a problem in our implementation, and we was thinking how to fix it. And solution was, okay, the beauty of Selenium is it's open source. We already made a little bit of changes. Let's play a little bit more and build a custom logic for all expected conditions which Selenium provides, and then provide which expected conditions we want to skip self-healing. We did it, and results was quite good, because basically what we said, if you have invisibility of something element, do not execute self-healing. Perfect. Next challenge. They are coming one after another. Every time when we solve the problem, we were like happy because we fix it. We still have a hope that this product is going to give us additional value to us. And we went into the first problem, but this time problem was on the same URL. Here, Selenium self-healing returns a wrong element. And let's see the example again with PayPal. In our automated test, we were having that change button, which was built with selector, which was called button data test ID shipping tile. PayPal did a change because they can do whatever they want with their platform, and they changed that value of the change button from shipping tile to change shipping. Of course, Selenium executed, it scanned the page and said, at debit or credit card is your change button, click it. Our automated test proceeded, click it on it, and we saw totally different screens in our test failures after that. Why Selenium did that as a result is because based on its algorithm, shipping cart is more closer to shipping tile compared to change shipping, and that's why shipping cart selector or web element had a higher score. How to solve it? A really difficult situation. But we had an idea. Override the existing logic by adding more context, like position of the elements, like their parents, like different attributes, and then completely refactor and change the decision-making process in Selenium. Easy job, right? We already know how to do it, but like everything in the life, at some point of time you need to draw a line and see the results and say, is it make sense to further invest in that activity based on the results? And surprise, we were badly surprised. We had only 5% successful self-healing tests. This means that Selenium returned the correct web element and our test didn't fail. It went properly and proceeded like it is expected. We had 5% unsuccessful self-healing with no impact. For us, that was a win situation because basically we had a product bug and our test failed on the same place where Selenium, without having any matter, is it Selenium enabled or disabled, which is perfect. Unfortunately, we got 90% unsuccessful self-healing with negative impact. Like in the case with PayPal, Selenium was suggesting wrong elements. It was clicking on different URLs, web elements, buttons, and sometimes our test reached in a state that we didn't know that it exists. And that's a problem, because this means that you need to spend more time to analyze what happened compared to the case where self-healing is not enabled. So as a lesson learned, the first one that we hit us really hard, we had kind of expectations for it, but we believe that it won't be a real problem, is that self-healing cannot make a difference between product change and a product bug. How many of you understand that statement? Can you raise your hand? Perfect. How we understand what is a product bug and product change? We use other systems like Jira or something else where our stories exist or where our business requirements for the product stays. So even we, as a people, without that knowledge, cannot say, is it a product bug or a product change? Yes, we have intuition and we can assume. But for some of the product change cases, it's difficult to assume. Next one, which we found during the first failure, is that when you do a research about self-healing, you must analyze all past tests which are healed. Is this clear? Great, you're amazing. And then on the next one are kind of out of the box. Self-healing is not reliable. And one of the main purposes in our automation is whatever we do to be reliable. We want to execute our test 10 times, and if there is a problem, to fail exactly on the same place those 10 times. Think, okay, everything should work fine. Successful test, we don't spend any time about any successfully executed tests. And the last thing is that self-healing of a selector is not a trivial operation. Huge applause to what EPAM team did. It's really nice work in progress, but at that point of time, even we was struggling with some of the problems and wondering how to fix it. And the decision-making process around what kind of product changes might appear in your solution might help you to define the better rules, and then Selenium might be able to work more properly. So, I think the result is obvious. In our company, after 18 months of experience, we decided to not use self-healing just because we didn't found that it brings any efficiency, just because now we had also to see information about what test was passed, why it was passed, is it self-healing enabled or not, and it was basically increasing more time for our daily analysis routine. Does it bring better efficiency? Not in our case. Next one was, is it going to help you with the flaky test? Self-healing does not any correlation with your flaky tests. Nothing. If someone says that, they are completely wild and want to sell you a product that does not do what you plan to do. And that's why we decided to not put a pain in our colleagues' work and to skip all the progress that we did with Selenium and to not use it. But like in everything, there is a hope. There is one spark at the end which can motivate you to try again your failure in future and see the results over the time. What we tried for the last couple of years is to rebuild our automation framework with idea of data out to ID attributes, because this way we can detach our automation from any CSS changes. As you can see from some of the images with Selenium locators, we are really struggling with that and we don't have good progress. In addition to that, if we make a good process about the naming and the values put for those data auto ID attributes, maybe when Selenium is looking for a new element, those change between shipping tile, change shipping and shipping cart, we might be able to skip it. Of course, not for PayPal because it's out of our power, but at least for the application that we built, we can make certain naming convention process. When we have a product change, the values will be quite close. So Selenium can find it and always the first solution to be the right one. In addition to that, we should get rid of the existing decision-making process and put our rules based on our application and our needs. And if we have the power to make that change into the mindset of our dev colleagues and our way to push further and say, we need those data out IDs on a daily basis, maybe Selenium might be in favor and help you. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
You have 4 minutes and a half for questions. Don't be shy. There's one question. Please, a mic. Okay, 2 minutes for questions. There's no time for questions, sorry. Now, 4 minutes left.
Yes, thanks. Thanks, Niki, for the great presentation. I wanted to ask you, would you apply this conclusion that you make about the self-healing tests on general basis about AI in automation? Usage of tools with AI in automation.
If you ask me now, I would say do not use AI. Because you are going to hit the same problem with reliability because of hallucination and other stuff. So don't go in trendy tools, wait for the bubble to break, and after that see what is left on the market, and then try it. But wait for the things to get more mature.
Yep. Yeah, I'm with the same opinion that once you get to really complex case, when you want to fine-tune AI, it's really hard. You start adding if-else's everywhere. So you get to that point, it's a struggle. Yep. For now. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there another question? Come on, don't be shy. Don't make me ask the questions because...
Thanks again for the great talk.
Or maybe I.
How did your clients react to this knowledge?
Sorry, how do you plan it?
No. What did your clients think about your finding?
Very good question. They stopped asking about self-healing. Because now it's not trendy. Now they are asking AI. How do you use AI in your daily work to be more effective? It brings better efficiency. And you already saw what Victor shared about the AI. Yes, that is a good thing. You can use AI to help you, for example, with preparing test data, preparing some boilerplate code. But basically, we should not trust too much to it. Every time we need to validate the results. And I can give you an example. I was testing one local model, Llama 3.1, and I was giving different problems with sonar issues. Pretty basic rule set, obvious problems, obvious solution, how you can fix it. And then what happened is it did a great job. It solved like 95% of all the sonar issues, failures, pretty well. But in some of the cases, there was a feature change into the library, which was like breaking change. So from one version to another, you had to completely rewrite the inputs that you put to that API or to that library in order to produce the same results. AI couldn't get that. So what happened is we did the fix, and then 50% of our tests failed just because the library update broke our test, and we had to go and update, to check for every test which case we go and update the input data that we provide. What we did? We reverted. We didn't decide to go further because it's not time efficient and it will not bring any additional value. So to answer to your question, think. This is the only power that we still have above the AI.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Niki, for this great presentation. And also, as Niki is here on the stage, and he appears twice today on our stage, we have a very special present from us here.
An original piece from Bulgarian Army Stadium. Оле, не мога да повярвам, Ники, извинявай, но това е написано със синьо в сценария.
So, applause one more time for Niki. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Challenge accepted, challenge accepted. Reality is always challenge accepted.